They're burning possessed nuns.
Oh, look at the nuns.
They're possessed. One of these nuns better turn into a demon soon.
I know. Why would they put a nun on the cross?
Was this common
In Italy?
in Italy in the 1400s? Oh, I didn't sign up for this.
Wait a minute.
Oh no, he's gonna stick a finger in her heart.
Ooh.
Oh, yucko.
That's not even in her heart. That's like...
in her teta.
No.
Ew. I don't understand.
Just put your
Did you say ew?
Ew. I don't understand.
Ew.
Ew.
Ew,
I'm in
Sherry.
Toronto. Ew.
How many times have you heard me?
Just
That
a
was
second ago, I
so
was in Italy
weird.
with hot nuns.
Look at you. Why in God's name are you always in the dirt? Get in here right now. I have to wash you all over again. Don't look at
Oh,
me
no,
like that.
like
Come
a
on, get in here on the double.
No, we're washing little boys.
He's a little blonde boy. Get in the tub. Mommy's going to wash
Stop
you again.
washing him.
They're just upset because you didn't clean the litter box. That's what my
Oh
thing is.
no, they are attacking her out. Oh, they popped out her eye.
Oh, he's biting her head. Oh, oops. Oh my God, that looks... Oh my God.
What the hell was that?
It's Fulci.
Fulci should be put on the cross.
Popular, you know? It's like the thing. Wow, what a weird movie. Oh my God.
I don't even know. I mean,
I'm like, what happened?
I'm still trying to figure out if anything did happen.
What happened? I don't get it.
What happened in this movie?
Things did not make sense.
Not really. Not
Ghost,
really.
not a ghost.
Was she a ghost? Was she not? Yeah. Was she really visible? Was she invisible? Was she possessed? Was she a reincarnation of one of the demonic nuns?
So many questions, but no answers.
No answers. There will never be answers. There's no explanation. He's got some splaining to do.
Uh-huh.
Really, 128 minutes and 45 seconds of our lives.
But you know what? We can sum this up fast.
Let me see. Start watching at about 1 hour. After exactly 1 hour, watch for 2 minutes. That's the movie. That's the money shot. I'm just going to watch it over and over again.
Yeah,
that was
clip.
beautiful.
Just that clip. I'm like, okay, here it is.
That's the only reason to watch this movie.
I know. Oh God. Okay. Welcome to another B movie with
Yvette. Yeah. Is
and
Keri here?
I know. Okay.
No, this
Well-
movie has turned our minds to mush.
We have to like wake ourselves up.
I have to wake up from this
Wake up,
movie.
wake up, wake up. What happened?
It was a nightmare.
A fever dream. It wasn't even exciting enough to be a nightmare.
Well, this is the first film in our special Mediterranean diet of horror films.
See, that's what we
It's-
get for being on a diet.
I know, right? It's an Italian film. A Fulci film.
Oh, we had such high hopes.
We did, called Demonia. Demonia from 1990. 1990.
1990.
It actually, you know, honestly, it really felt like and looked like a film
so
from
much.
late 60s or early 70s.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's really surprising to
And
me.
yeah, everything about it felt very like in that Italian Spanish genre of the early
Uh-huh.
1970s.
Yeah. And you know, the effects seemed very dated.
Very dated.
Yeah.
Are you sure this wasn't like a reworking of something that was done?
No, it was 1990. But you know, okay, so Demonia was developed under the working title of Liza.
Liza with a Z, not Lisa with an S, because Lisa with an S goes snods.
Probably would have been a better title.
Yeah, just call it Liza.
Snods.
Because it was really about Liza. The whole thing was about Liza.
It was just too much Liza and not enough Demonia.
not Minnelli.
It wasn't. I wish it was about Liza Minnelli. Then it would have been a smash. It would have been so good.
Really terrific.
Can you
But this was
imagine?
not about the right Liza.
It should have been Liza Minnelli. Liza Minnelli dressed as a nun, murdering people.
It's like I'm losing my mind.
With
Excellent.
cats. and possessing cats. I
I
think
know.
that
That would
would
have
be
been
fun.
better. That would
'Cause then
be so much
it would
fun.
have humor. This didn't.
This was just Dullsville.
Okay, so reception. Fulci would later describe the film as a quote wonderful movie ruined from very bad photography, and that's that.
What?
Really?
Oh, dude, no.
Photography? I think there's a lot more that was
It
not.
wasn't just the photography.
Other than that one scene, the movie is regrettable and forgettable, except for that one scene with the cats.
You know, if they made this into like a campy film, if it was specifically a campy film, they could have made it fun.
Yeah, I mean, it took itself way more seriously than it needed
Yeah,
to.
it did, and that's a problem. I think
It's a real problem.
I don't know. Maybe I was looking way too deeply and my expectations were too high. There's just so many whys. Why is this Canadian archaeologist connected to these Italian demonic nuns?
well, there's so many things that you're looking for, that you're trying to understand, that you're trying to put together. Like why do these nuns? Because it's all about 5 nuns, right?
5 nuns from the 1400s, right around the time of the Inquisition.
Right, who were murdered basically by the townspeople, and they have, as they're going to murder them, that you can see that there's question marks
At first, I thought there were crosses, but there are question marks on their foreheads.
drawn onto their foreheads. So, you're trying to figure things out. Like, what does that mean? And why does this happen? And why? But nothing ever gets explained.
There's never any this happened, therefore this happened. Nothing ever comes together and nothing is ever really
Goodness.
explained.
So I still have a question mark on my forehead from this film.
Question marks all over the place from this film.
So, okay, well, it starts off, it's Italy, Sicily. Picture it. Sicily, 1486. 5 nuns having orgies under the convent.
My kind of people.
They have a covenant with
Who was it? Who could it possibly be? Was it, I don't know, Satan?
This is basically it, right?
That's it. That's all she wrote.
The townspeople find out what's going on with these nuns, and they take them down to the crypt. They put them on crosses.
Yeah, they crucify them. I guess that was like a thing in the 1400s. If the nuns were possessed or they just did something you didn't like,
Partaking in wild orgies.
they could have just stoned them or burned them at the stake.
No, they just decided to do that. They
Was
thought it
this
would be-
movie historically accurate?
It definitely was not historic. Well, first we see the nuns being murdered by the townspeople for their sins. And then we go to, quote, present day 1990 with Liza, who is an archaeologist.
It's Liza with a Z, not Lisa with an S, because Lisa with an S goes not Z.
And she is participating in a seance because it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun for her.
Seances are fun.
Yeah, extracurricular activities. Let her have her fun.
At least she's interesting.
Really terrific.
The movie's not interesting, but she is.
She is. Should have all been about Liza.
I have a problem.
So she's participating in a seance.
Give us a hint by ringing the bell.
And she has a vision of what happened in 1486.
Of all the nuns being burned by the townspeople and crucified.
And she passes out, and the next day,
Ew.
You. I don't understand.
When she wakes up from her vision, she just says, ew. I was like, what was that?
I was like, is this a bad interpretation? Did they make a mistake on the
Exactly.
recording? It was pretty cute. Ew.
You fainted. I brought you home.
You. I don't understand.
Just put your mind to it.
Oh, I remember now. I was at
I
the...
know. You were attending another of those foolish seances you're so fond of.
The professor, Mr. Archaeological professor, says, you shouldn't be doing these seances, and you need to just focus on the work we have ahead of us. Get packed. We're leaving for Italy tomorrow.
We're going to Sicily, and she's one of those very blonde Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
This is like Alice follows the rabbit down the rabbit hole into
A world of orgies and demon nuns.
Really terrific.
And I mean, you think about movies about nuns having orgies and, wild parties.
And that sounds pretty
And it
cool.
sounds fun. Like you want to watch it.
Yay! We love orgies.
We used to have orgies all the time in the convent.
But this was just not as fun.
But that wasn't like any orgy I've ever been to. We knew what we were doing.
No. It was the most boring.
It was the most boring orgy ever.
Two goofy guys. They looked like they didn't even know what they were doing.
Where do I put this?
I know, he was just wiggling. He was just wiggling. He didn't look like he knew what he was doing. What was that?
That's why I was surprised they would even get pregnant. I mean,
I know. He didn't know where to put anything.
they
He was
didn't
just
know.
writhing
It was so
awkwardly on top of her.
He didn't know what he was doing. Slithering around over there.
And they're all oiled up.
Oh my God, they're all greasy and slimy. And it's just
Oh
two
my
couples.
God.
It's not like it's a bit. We didn't even see all five nuns
No.
there.
That was just a wild orgy.
That's not an orgy.
That's just like another Friday night at the convent.
Apparently, we were very disappointed that there was no real orgy.
Disappointed!
Oh my God, so many things.
There's
Oh my
so many
God.
things to complain about in this movie. Primarily, no real orgies.
No,
Oh my
not at
gosh.
all. Well, there you have it. So they fly off to Sicily, and they're greeted by the locals, who are superstitious, angry that they're there.
So inhospitable.
We'll probably be in need of some locals as our collaborators.
That is precisely what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm afraid that you will not get support from people here. Let's say, they do not take well to foreigners.
You uncover these things, you leave it alone.
The dubbing was so questionable. Yet the townspeople absolutely do not want them there.
Still up there digging. Don't they know that the dead must be left in peace?
They're being threatened by the locals to just leave everything alone at the monastery.
Why are they still interfering, those bastards? What did they think they're going to get out of it?
Only misfortune. Misfortune and ruin.
Meanwhile, their little group of archaeologists, which consists of
The most stereotypical Irish people, a metrosexual father that dresses like one of the Pet Shop Boys, and a mother who's constantly washing her little boy Robbie. It's bizarre.
Robbie, look at you. Why in God's name are you always in the dirt? Get in here right now. I have to wash you all over again.
It's so warped.
she's basically giving her kid a complex.
That's wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That
I
kid's
mean-
going to turn into a serial killer for sure.
Yeah. And then the dad, who looks like he's from an 80s music video.
Definitely giving me soft sell Pet Shop Boys vibes.
Robbie, I have to wash you all over again. Don't look at me like that. Come on, get in here on the double.
Definitely 80s look. And the professor and Liza with the Z. That was pretty much it.
It's not z-
And they're not very good archaeologists. It's more like an Irish rave. All they do is drink whiskey and sing jigs all night.
That's all they do.
That's all they do all night.
Cockles and mussels. One night, all they did was play the same two chords over and over
And
again.
over again.
It's enough to drive anyone insane.
And they spent so much time on those frickin' songs in this movie that,
Oh, so much time.
if they would have taken that out, we would have had maybe 20 minutes
Well,
less.
yeah.
of the
It would have
film.
been an hour-long movie
Edit it.
without those.
There really is so much you could cut out of this movie. You could turn it into a good 5-minute short. Just watch the trailer. It has all the best bits. There's only like a handful of scenes that are worth watching.
Maybe we should just go from the end.
Quizás.
Where were we? The
Okay.
archaeologists.
So they're there, they're doing their little songs, the
Annoying
Um,
everybody.
Liza.
No wonder everybody wants
um,
them out of town.
You're going to pay for what you're doing.
Liza goes to the monastery. She feels as though she's being pulled towards it. She's being called to it. She hears a heartbeat behind a painting down at the crypt area of the monastery. and she decides she is going to grab this huge hammer and smash through the wall.
Regardless of what the government wants or anyone wants, she's going to just destroy an artifact.
Right. Destroying this painting.
They're terrible archaeologists.
She finds the crypt, the little hidden area where the nuns had wild sex and where they were murdered.
Not so wild sex, but yeah.
I don't believe that.
Ew.
Yeah. And so, and she sees the 5 crosses and the skeletonized.
It's the remains of the nuns that are just hanging on the crosses.
Yeah.
I found the bodies of 5 crucified nuns down there in the crypt.
Okay. I don't know what tricks your mind is playing on you, but you'd be well advised to forget this place, and I'm going to tell you once again, stay away from it.
So she sees that, so now she knows that the vision she had
was real. At that point, we're thinking, okay, maybe she's a reincarnation, but
no,
nothing.
She's not.
You can make all sorts of speculations.
Right.
Because they never really tell you why she's so connected to this vision. Why is she so connected to these particular nuns? She's having visions in Canada. And so why does she have this deep connection to these demonic nuns?
I don't know. Are they saying that seances will connect you with demons?
Which is probably true.
I don't know. Let's do a seance and find out.
I don't want to be connected to demonic nuns that have lame orgies.
Lame sex lives. We want to be where the fun nuns are.
I don't want to be with the lame-ass nuns that don't know how to have a proper orgy.
How to party. These nuns don't know how to party. Damn it. 1486. Come on.
That's when all the fun was happening.
No, that's wrong. Cut it out, you degenerates.
Yeah, no kidding. So then she goes back to her group, and they're all singing and annoying her.
It's like a recurring scene.
It's a fucking recurring nightmare is what it is.
For us. She goes to sleep, and you don't know if she's just annoyed, and because she's like restless and turning and twisting. You don't know if she's just annoyed because the Irish keep singing. This is a recurring situation that happens a couple of times, 2 or 3 times in the movie. It feels like the same exact scene, although the music gets worse and worse to the point where they're just playing 2 chords.
Because they're drinking more. They're drinking and drinking. Dun, dun. That's how bad it is.
Oh my God. It would so make you go mental.
It's like I'm losing my mind.
Please, don't do anything. Please.
Don't you know there are people trying to sleep around here?
So anyway, there is another archaeologist out there, but he works mainly with marine archaeology. He has his little boat. He has a boat.
And they're discussing the townsfolk and their past history.
Because the professor knows him. They're friends from the college.
From the worst college in Toronto.
Architects. Yeah, they are. And they're talking, and he's basically giving them the lowdown.
I had several problems with the open hostility of these people. They can be extremely protective of their cultural heritage.
They don't want you to go to the old monastery.
They're superstitious. They're hostile.
Stay away from the monastery.
Blah, blah, blah. He's just reiterating everything that we know. But I guess we need him to tell us because he's going to die. And we need to see his death because it's entertaining.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was just set up for a kill.
You think they want to put that kill in because the special effects are really cool, or they, they're gory, or there's something interesting about it. In this one, a naked woman reappears and is still semi-transparent and shoots him with a harpoon gun.
And it's a transparent harpoon gun. But when it goes through him, it's real. Is it real?
We have no idea.
It killed him. And then,
you're
thinking, okay, well, it must be one of the nuns. Why is she naked?
But yeah, exactly. You don't even know it. She doesn't at least put the question mark on her head.
But you don't even see her face.
You just see semi-transparent naked boobs. And a harpoon gun. All they have to do is put a question mark on her head. They didn't even have to put a wimple on her.
It would have been cool if she had a wimple on and nothing else. I mean, that's a poster.
We're assuming that this has got to be a nun because everybody is so worried about leaving the past alone. Liza has smashed into the wall of the monastery. She finds the bodies.
To release the demonias.
The spirits must have been released, and so now the spirits are taking the revenge, I guess, on the townspeople.
That's the assumption.
That guy is not even a townsperson.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't she go after the locals? She wouldn't go after this English archaeologist with an American accent from Toronto.
No, who cares about him? No, nobody cares about that guy.
I mean, why are they picking on him? What did he do?
Right.
The Demonia are just picking on the poor Canadians. Because they're just easy to pick on, I guess.
Because they're just sitting around playing music all day and they're getting annoyed with it. I don't know.
The Italians scare them, but the Canadians are easy to pick on. They don't fight back.
What are the official languages of Canada?
Apologies and passive aggression.
Correct.
It was goofy. It didn't make any sense, but
spirits are free, yay!
They're free and they're naked. And they're running around shooting people with harpoons.
Only once do we get
once.
A naked, transparent...
A transparent nudie. I want more transparent nudies.
I'd like to see their faces, though, too.
At least.
That would be kind of nice.
I mean, how Italian is it? They just showed the boobs. That's so bad.
That's more French.
Now we're just being racist and
I don't know.
To
I'm guessing. I don't know.
But come on, just come on. Just a transparent torso, a nudie with a harpoon gun.
That's neither. It's neither scary or sexy
or relevant.
We could just go down the list. So, okay, he's dead. Hooray. Let's talk about some of the townspeople. They all sit around and play cards.
All the men. It's like a town of men. I thought for sure they went to the only gay town in Sicily.
Hey, sailor.
There's no women.
And I figure, well, maybe it's because of the curse and the nuns and this and that. They're afraid of women.
So they lock up their women in the basement.
Exactly. So there are no women around. It's just very odd.
It's so bizarre.
And the creepiest of all of the townspeople is the butcher.
Who looks very Neanderthal.
Yeah, he looks like
that guy from Frankenstein's daughter.
Lady Frankenstein.
Lady Frankenstein.
Yeah, he kind of looks like that. But he has like the buggy eyes and the kind of the thick forehead.
Very Neanderthal looking.
And very angry. He's just always so angry.
He is. He's very aggressive and hostile. He's a butcher.
Yeah, and he just complains that these people are here and they shouldn't be disturbing this. And we're going to be cursed because of it.
He's the one leading the charge, trying to get the archaeologists out of there.
They're still up there digging. Why are they doing it? Why are they such fools? Don't they know that the dead must be left in peace?
So he just goes on and on about it.
He's basically suggesting violence. He's saying that the foreigners are like gangrene that need to be removed.
Amputate before gangrene sets in.
Spoken like a true butcher.
It's the word of Ture de Simone, the butcher of Santa Rosalia.
And you never really know why he's so upset.
No.
They never explain, has this happened before? Have these demonic nuns escaped before?
Why is that? Why is it even a thing? I mean, after all these years, how would anybody even remember what happened?
I know it's the 1400s. It's hundreds of years ago.
No one's going to know.
No one thinks about that.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
No, and if the townspeople had done that so long ago, they would never even speak of it again.
What do they think the archaeologists are going to do anyway?
They don't care about that shit.
Unless they knew that a demon was going to be released if they tampered with it. But it didn't seem like anybody had even looked into this old story for hundreds of years.
Wrong. And so we do see Liza going into the library.
I think these are supposed to be historical archives
filled with dust and dirt.
And they're just falling apart.
No one's wearing gloves.
No one wears gloves. They just leave them all on shelves, like dirty shelves.
Rotting.
If they were really there, they would have deteriorated long ago.
Yes, from the way they're keeping them. So Liza asks for the Chronicles of Santa Rosalia.
Are you looking for something?
Yes, I'm looking for the Chronicles of Santa Rosalia.
But no one's ever shown the slightest interest in them. You're the first person who's ever asked.
In 500, 600 years, nobody's ever wanted to look at this.
Never.
with the teams of archaeologists that have been all over town.
Because archaeologists don't care. They're not even looking at the monastery. They're working on something else.
Nobody's anywhere near the monastery.
Nobody cares about the freaking monastery, except for Liza, because she had that premonition.
And the butcher, who's obsessed with it. Just Liza and the butcher. That's it.
A love story.
Maybe they should have called it that.
The Butcher of Santa Rosalia and Liza. A love story.
You're going to pay for what you're doing.
Wrong.
Sounds beautiful.
What a romantic story.
He wants to give her his meat.
She don't want it. Chop, chop. She cuts off the gangrene. So, of course, as she opens up the manuscript, there are pages missing because that always happens, right? There's always something missing. And as she's looking through this, a woman appears down the hall of the library. And it's the first time you see a woman in this town.
I know. And she's just standing there looking very somber and stoic.
Speak softly. If anyone sees me talking with you, I'm dead.
The way this is filmed, it almost feels like it's black and white because everything is so dull.
I know, it was done in the 90s, but it has that very aged film look to it. It looks like something that was done in the early 70s or in the late 60s. The colors are very faded and very muted and dark.
But she's wearing these gold dangly earrings that just really stand out.
I know.
And as she's talking in this monotone, which a lot of them do, also the butcher talks like that.
I know, none of the people in this town have any expression on their faces. And the voice acting from the dubbing is very deadpan.
Her face, there's no animation. It's just very plain.
If you want to have information,
exactly,
go to my house. It is at the edge of town.
Exactly. That's how she said it. Yeah. So she says, go meet me. Meet me, lady, outside of town.
And doesn't give her any direction.
I know what you are looking for. And I know you didn't find it here. If you want the truth, come to my place tomorrow at 12 o'clock. It's the only house outside town.
It's the only house outside of town. You'll find it.
There's only one woman in this town.
And she's in the outskirts. They're not allowed in the town. As she's going through this town, it actually is bigger than you would think.
It's like a whole village. How did she even find her?
There are no signs saying, okay, sketchy woman from the library to the left. And none of that.
She's psychic.
She does wind up at her home. Automatically, there's cats everywhere.
And she totally steps on one when she gets there.
As soon as she walks in, like she stepped on its tail or something.
She did step on him. She totally stepped on his tail. Poor kitty.
Cats everywhere.
Don't pay attention to them. They are my friends. The only ones I can trust.
And the lady shows up. Oh, good. You found me.
I didn't really think you would.
I know.
I was hoping you wouldn't find me.
Right. And she has these tarot cards on the table. So we're like, ooh, she's going to give her a reading, But no, she doesn't give her a reading. Nothing happens with the tarot cards.
And she doesn't give her anything to drink. She doesn't give her tea.
Nothing. She's not a great host. She's got all these cats all over. She's holding a cat. And she's just basically, she's just reiterating what everybody said.
I will tell you the story of the old nunnery on the hill.
And so the woman's speaking to the back of Liza's head.
Blank stares, close-up faces, very art house.
Well, you know what then? I'm glad that they had this artistic moment.
It wasn't an artistic, it's a poor man's Ingmar Bergman.
A tale of violence and sin and blood.
So, oh my God. It just, it was like bordering on silly. So
bordering. Oh, like, they got way past bordering.
So yeah, so she's holding her cat, just telling her about the whole story. But then she goes a little deeper into the story, what the guys haven't told her.
There were 5 nuns in the convent. All of them were young and beautiful. And each of them had a covenant with Satan.
Terrific.
This is where we find out about the wild orgies.
Yeah, the covenant with Satan, and that they had wild orgies under the convent. And the fruits.
They would get rid of the fruits of the night.
The terrible fruit of those infernal nights
I wasn't really clear on what fruits she was talking about at first.
Hey,
I
sailor.
wasn't sure if she was being homophobic or she was talking
The
about
fruits.
peaches and
Tomatoes. All
apples.
their tomatoes.
Their tomatoes
They
had to be
burned their tomatoes.
thrown
They
away.
burned the tomatoes, the fruits.
The tomates.
Yeah.
So they're basically the nuns were getting pregnant from these orgies and encounters.
and they would actually have the babies.
I was just hoping, I was praying that the baby would just shoot out of her and pop across the room. That would have been awesome.
That would have been funny. But so you just see basically the other nun just like picking up this baby, kind of all wrapped up.
And you could so tell that it was a doll.
And it's a puppet. It's like a little puppet or doll.
I actually, when she's running with it, I don't even think there's anything in that blanket. I think it's just a swaddle.
And then she puts it in the fire, and then you see like this little hand.
You hear, but then when they get the close up,
but then it becomes like a puppet hand because it kind of moves, and you can see there's got like, it's like a little material hand, like a Muppet.
That's where you see the Muppet hand, where
Muppet,
it looks
yeah.
like it's puffy material, like a Cabbage Patch doll.
So we're not really feeling too bad for the
puppets of the night.
The little piece
How
of
can you?
fabric being burnt. So we get the story, and it wasn't surprising. It wasn't really shocking.
I'm still not convinced they were worshiping Satan. They were just a bunch of chicks that liked face painting and partying.
We didn't even see them worship Satan. It's just like a rave, and they were painting their faces and dancing around.
Exactly.
A little oiling each other up.
Smoking a little pot or something, and dropping some acid.
Burning a few babies. Oh my God.
And I guess they're worshiping Satan, but you never really know for sure.
Right.
It's just the witch's word for it. You never really saw them worshiping Satan. You just saw them partying a little bit.
No, they were lazy nuns. So
lazy Satan worshippers.
They didn't have time to.
I don't have time for this. I don't have time to draw pentagrams today. Sacrifice any more puppets of the night.
Not today. Let's just forget about that.
Oh my God. So, okay. So at this point, I know that the nuns' spirits are as agitated as we are with the singing and the noise that's happening in that little camp of archaeologists. So you hear the voices, these beautiful female voices calling to the Irishmen.
What is it? Didn't you hear it?
And the Irishmen are following the voices. And, they're really drunk. And so they head over to the monastery trying to find the women because they hear them calling to them.
I think there's a party going on.
The demonic nuns are just fed up with all the Irish jigs.
They're sick of hearing the songs.
What happened?
Oh, and the way they put the scene together, there was zero money for cinematography.
So they're going down into the monastery, and you see shadows, but it oh my God, the way it's done, it really looks like paper cutouts.
It was paper cutouts. Flat Stanley. Maybe he kills them.
For all we know. And these guys are so drunk that they think they're, some hot chicks.
Let me have some more of that whiskey.
Yeah, they're totally drunk. Just like, oh, I hear them. There must be over here.
I hear the
bet they're
siren
beautiful.
sounds of mermaids.
Oh, they've got to be beautiful. Oh my goodness. Oh. And they fall through a hole onto these massive spikes, and they're dead instantly.
And then all you see is the shadows. You see these paper cutout shadows of nun-like, maybe nuns. Maybe it's the little boy all this time, and he's just like,
he's just doing the little paper cut. He's singing his little song. He just wanted to get away
he's
from
singing
everyone.
his siren song.
His little paper dolls.
He's just tired of being bathed.
And he's got his little paper dolls. He's making shadows on the wall.
Luring Irishmen to their death.
Robbie, what am I going to do with you?
Well, that could be it. Poor little guy. Quit bathing me, mother.
No, that's wrong.
So 2 down. Yay. Bye-bye.
Oh, thank God. No more annoying Irish jigs.
So because they're dead, the Interpol detective shows up to figure out how they were murdered. He is assuming that it must be the angry Italian guys who don't want them there.
They will interpret this accident as a sign from heaven and hold you responsible for whatever happens all around here.
What do you think I should do?
Stay away from them as much as possible.
Do your stuff and go. And then all of a sudden, he's on the boat where the marine archaeologist was murdered by the spirit of the naked nun.
We think.
Yeah, it could have been any spirit.
It could have been one of his ex-wives, for all we know.
Oh, that's a good theory.
It's possible.
And because he's a marine archaeologist, it could have been a mermaid.
All we saw were boobies and a harpoon.
So I'm saying he was murdered by the spirit of a mermaid.
She was just balancing on her fin.
Yeah. You asshole. Okay, so the detective's like, well, there's some blood here, but there's no body, so there's nothing we can do.
In these novels that I read, the detective who jumps to conclusions is almost always wrong.
And he just wants to be left out of it. It's in international waters, so I can say that it's not in my jurisdiction. We're just going to forget about it.
Nothing happened. We don't care. Let's lift the anchor. So as they're lifting the anchor, this is where we have this is the fun part.
It's the head of the ocean archaeologist. It looks like a head from the Hollywood Wax Museum.
It has seaweed on his face.
Bright, refreshing, delicious looking green seaweed on his face.
It actually kind of reminded me of Creepshow. It was kind of cute. It wasn't scary.
It looked like a wax head.
It wasn't gross. It was just cute.
A fun wax Halloween head from Walmart.
Now they realize, oh crap, there is another dead guy we have to deal with. God damn
I'm
it.
going to claim it's out of my jurisdiction on a technicality. Got that?
Loud and clear, boss.
Dang it.
We have to write out the reports now.
So now we get to the best part of the film.
The only part worth
The
watching.
only part, right, exactly. So if you can just get this on YouTube, just this little slice.
Little slice of heaven, 1 hour in.
And start watching from there. It is the only thing worth
It
watching.
is so cute. I love cats.
Was it worth watching an hour and 28 minutes just to see that scene?
Yes!
I think it was.
I like that scene so much.
I love demonic cats.
Or our lovely cat lady. She walks into her home and her cat's not around. She's like, where are my cats? Where are my cats? She looks over in the 2 litter boxes, which are dirty. And number one, your cat's going to be pissed if you don't clean that litter box, right? So we know there's going to be some pissed off cats.
I know. She's left no food for them. They're starving.
Okay, now they're really going to be pissed. Then you start to hear the cat. Yeah. So I'm like, they are either possessed by the nuns or they're just pissed off because she doesn't know how to take care of them.
It's a little bit of both.
They are circling her. These 5 cats.
They're all arched up, hissing. They're ready to attack. It's awesome.
And she starts freaking out. She knows she's cursed and she backs up into the wall. Oh, my cats. And the cats start jumping at her face and they're clawing at her and they're like ripping at her face. And then one of the cats reaches in and plucks at her eyeball.
But I just love that one cat. Both paws are straight up in the air and he just lands on her face. It was awesome.
Bonk.
And it looks like they're on pulleys or something because
You see their little bodies dangling. They're spread eagle and they're all like flying up in the air.
They're flying through the air. Woo!
So good.
Flying squirrel. Woo! And then another one just grabs into her eye, and we actually get to see it, really ripping it out of her head, pulling the eyeball out.
and then all of a sudden her face just looks like a rubber
With
mask.
just like the fake blood dripping
Oh
down.
my God.
And she's starting to try and touch her face.
And anatomically, her hands just look like they're in totally the wrong place.
To actually be touching her face is pretty.
And because the hands are so real, it just makes the mask look so much more fake.
It's funny. But it's great because these cats are, they're doing a great acting job.
The cats act better than anybody else in this.
And the Oscar goes to...
They deserve 5 stars.
The cats deserve the Oscar.
I'm giving it to Sicilian cats, man.
The Oscar goes to Flying Italian Cats.
They were fantastic. If we could end the film there, I'd be pretty satisfied.
Yeah, they should have ended it there.
It's better than the ending we get.
That's exactly where they should have ended. That's way better than the ending we get. They should have ended it there with flying Italian cats.
Because then we could assume that the nuns' spirits have possessed the cats and they're going to live their lives out as cats who murder the townspeople.
Ravenous, eye-popping Sicilian cats. Fabulous.
Really terrific.
And then we could have a whole other film.
Right, and then they could have just had a whole movie about possessed cats. I'd watch that.
Right, with just that. Right, the possessed cats.
Give me more demonic cats.
Demona kitties. Demona kitties.
Demona kittia.
God, that's the best story ever.
I love flying cats.
Yes. So all hell's breaking loose. Everybody's dying, and nobody knows why. Or do they?
The townspeople know why.
It's the curse. The detectives don't know why.
No, they don't. They're ding-dongs. They think it's the other archaeologist that's killing everybody.
Yeah, and this was so dumb. This is another 10 minutes that we didn't need. This new detective shows up. He's trying to tell the professor that he believes that he might be the murderer.
Because in the past, the archaeologist wrote a scathing article about the other professor that was found dead.
Whatever. Who cares? What does this even have to do with anything? I don't know.
It's a red herring.
But we didn't even need that.
Not really. And it's not even a red herring to us because we already know it's the demonic nuns. So this new detective is giving the Canadian archaeologist the third degree.
In these novels that I read, the detective who jumps to conclusions is almost always wrong.
He reads detective novels. That's how he knows.
That's his training. So he's reading Agatha Christie's books, and that's how he became a detective.
I am a private dick.
I don't think he's really a detective.
Maybe he should have read some Stephen King or something.
Then who would he have suspected?
The cats. It's the cats that did it.
I said that cats did. Well, he would have been right. I mean, this is not a really deep, complicated Agatha Christie kind of mystery.
well, that's what he reads. So we've got the goofy detective.
They're just spinning their wheels.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I guess it's just to take up some time in the film. So from there, we go to the butcher, the Frankenstein butcher boy.
The butcher of Santa Rosalia.
He's cursed too, right? Because the whole town is now, because the nuns are pissed. The spirits.
Mm-hmm.
So what I don't understand is, why does the butcher go to the crypt? To see for himself? But he does go to the crypt with his handy dandy flashlight, and he sees that the crypt has been open. The 5 crucifixes are there, the crosses, with only 4 bodies attached. So there's one body that was missing.
One missing nun.
Which doesn't make sense, because these are spirits of the nuns, right?
Yeah, because they could just inhabit the body of cats and someone else.
What does the body have to do with it? Nothing.
They don't need their dusty old bones. But bodies were appearing and disappearing and half transparent all through the movie.
Yeah. So, he freaks out. He runs back to his shop.
He's totally freaked out.
And he hears this.
I know. It totally shocked me. It sounded like something right out of a cartoon.
That's all, folks.
Like Bugs Bunny.
And I thought maybe, Yvette pressed a button on her computer.
I know, I was adding random sound effects.
I totally thought you were doing that. I'm not kidding. I really thought, how did she do that sound effect? That's so cool.
It was so
That's
bad.
like, oh my God, what is that? And it was one of the butcher knives that just flung itself into the butcher block.
And made that noise. It's crazy.
I don't know why they did that. That was just...
It's like a freeware sound effect. I was like, why did they even need that?
It was silly. And so he sees
bad.
it, and that freaks him out even more. So he decides to hide in the cooler.
You're such a genius.
Why would you hide in your freezer?
Because nuns don't like freezers, I guess. So he's in the cooler, and we see 5 carcasses, and one of them is like a lamb. Blood is just dripping out of its mouth.
It's dripping blood.
And then you hear the other carcasses starting to kind of move back and forth.
Pig's eye is popping out of its head.
Right. We're trying to figure out how are the carcasses going to kill him? You know, is what's left of the face of the animal, is it going to bite him to death?
And they
Is it
should
gonna,
have.
that would have been funny.
But no, the carcasses attack.
The sheer body of the carcass bangs into him against the wall.
Basically, he's getting beat by his
Yes,
meat.
he's being pummeled. The evil butcher of Santa Rosalia is being beaten by his own mate.
Beat by his meat.
He was, and it was hilarious
Ay, ay,
because
ay.
slamming into him, and he's like, "Oh,
It's like if the carcass beat up Rocky.
so stupid." He's like, "Bonk." Yeah. In the meantime, the knives are going boing, boing, boing.
It was so bad.
It was so bad. We're like, how long are we going to have to endure this? Until finally, a hook, one of the meat hooks, just like gouges into his neck. And he starts bleeding. It's like, okay.
And I just thought they were going to go there right away. But it took a long time for them to get there.
Right. Something like that.
But they didn't even hang him up by the meat hook.
No.
They threw him down on the butcher block.
Okay, but this is the weird thing, because now you see hands, but the hands aren't transparent anymore. It's like real solid hands.
Yeah, they're solid hands now. And they
Yeah.
drag him to the butcher block. And then they pull out his freakishly long tongue.
And his tongue is like so incredibly long that it just doesn't make sense.
It's like Gene Simmons long.
Longer than that.
And they're pulling it out of his mouth. And the tongue is so weird. It's just so long and puffy and juicy looking.
Yeah.
It looks like a cow's tongue or something.
Like they just kind of whittled down a cow's tongue to look like a human tongue. And she pulls it out and takes a nail and nails it down into the butcher block. And then I guess his wife finds him.
Which, who knew they had wives? This is the first time you're seeing other women from the
Right. I
village.
assumed that he was gay because the town is gay.
Hey, sailor.
We thought everyone was gay.
I mean, everybody's gay, right?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So now we find out he has a wife and she's crying. Oh, I don't know.
To his wife is inside. She's hysterical.
I just can't. Please. But I don't know what happened.
And the detective shows up and he's looking around and he's so careful to not touch the handle of the cooler. He's using a nice Kleenex or something, and he opens up the cooler and he goes in, he sees the body, and he sees that the man grabbed a portion of whoever killed him of their clothes. So the material is in the man's hand, clutched.
And he just grabs it with his bare hand. You can't use that as evidence.
And removes it after he was so careful.
Not to leave fingerprints on anything else.
It's just, I was appalled.
You're so stupid.
These detectives.
That's not proper protocol for gathering evidence.
I don't know.
No, that's wrong.
So now the townsfolk are really upset because their own people are being killed now. They didn't care before when it was the outsiders.
But now it's affecting their sweet little village and they're going berserk.
Professor, the people in the town have gone crazy. They want to destroy the monastery. They've got weapons. They're coming up here.
And they are running to the monastery to burn it down. They're going to burn down the stone monastery.
It's like an old Frankenstein movie, but with unlit torches.
The torches are unlit, and they're going to burn down a stone monastery.
With their old-timey torches.
Yes, it's 1990.
Where did they even get those torches? Are they artifacts?
They stole the artifacts. They stole it.
It's crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah, totally nuts. So they're going to go torch the stone monastery. And in the meantime, the archaeologists are like, you know what? We need to just get the hell out of here.
But the mother of poor little Robbie,
who needs constant bathing,
who wants to bathe him one last time before they leave, realizes that Bobby is missing.
Where is he?
Robbie.
You haven't been bathed in over a half hour.
So she tells her husband, I need to bathe Bobby. Where is he? And so the husband says, I'm going to go look for him.
Did you even think for 1 second they were married?
I didn't. I did not. Nothing indicated that.
Oh my God. He was
Nothing
so
indicated
gay. So the metrosexual father goes looking for Robbie.
Robbie, where are you? Robbie! Robbie!
So he's running, and you see little Bobby being pulled along by a nun, but you only see the back of her.
She's taking me away! Help me!
We're assuming it's maybe Liza who's possessed. We don't know what she's going to do with Bobby. She's just taking him away. I mean, who knows? Maybe she's just going to take him to give him a bath.
Oh, maybe.
So then the father, this part I don't get. All of a sudden, the dad is no longer running. He's on the ground with his legs tied up.
Fred Eagle.
Each leg is tied to like different trees or something next to him.
His hands are tied to a block in front of him and he's lifted up in the air.
He's like upside down.
And it is weird because he gets into that predicament like all of a sudden. And then Bobby somehow escapes from the nun and is running to his papa.
And this all happens within seconds. So I don't know how he got into this trap or how the spirit nuns did this. They prayed and it happened.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
The miracle of prayer.
Maybe that's what happened to him. It's a miracle. We've trapped him.
So Robbie's running to his papa. And the father notices that there's some kind of tripwire. So he's telling Robbie to stay back because if he crosses that wire,
he's going to be split in half.
Don't move, Robbie! No!
What, Dad? Come over towards you? Okay, I'll go over there. And he trips over the wire. And then we get to watch. Daddy gets split in half.
All of his innards fall out. Oh, his chitlins.
It looks so phony baloney.
It's so bad.
That we don't even have any kind of feeling.
Right before he splits in half, it was weird. It was like this weird covering of like fake body parts.
You could see what was real and what wasn't, and what was like almost like clay or wax on him.
It was a different color than his actual skin color. It didn't blend in at all. There was an edge where you saw it was connected.
Right, where they tried to like put a little bit of makeup to make it somewhat like his coloring.
It was so bad.
Yeah, and I'm sure they just used the intestines from one of the carcasses at the butcher shop.
He just like splits straight in half and all of his innards pop out. It's great.
It just is so not realistic at all.
It's so cheesy.
It is super cheesy. So now he's dead and Bobby is just covered in blood. Did he try to piece his dad together?
I don't know. Maybe he tried to come back with
Maybe he's
Daddy.
trying to
I
piece
don't
them
know.
together and drag him home. I don't know.
But the boy is like, it looks like they dumped a bucket of red paint over the boy.
A bucket of blood.
He walks into the house, Mommy. Daddy's not doing too good.
And she's screaming, "No, I'm gonna have to bathe you again.
I know, you get so
I'm
dirty.
gonna have to bleach your clothes to get that blood out." And that was actually pretty funny. Yeah, so pretty much everybody's dead.
What's his name? Peter, the archaeologist from Toronto. He's like having a vision.
He doesn't know if it's her
or a nun,
right,
or what it is, and it's kind of visible but then not visible. But it's a woman in that white nun's outfit.
Basically, it's Liza.
But you never see her face until the very end.
So he's chasing after her.
Liza!
Liza! Liza!
And then the townspeople are running up the big hill to the monastery with the big giant old-timey torches.
Yeah.
And she basically goes into the monastery.
Right. And he follows her and she turns around and she has a knife in her hand and she stabs him in the gut.
Funky makeup and a big question mark on her head.
So Liza is now possessed by the spirit of the nun. And so she stabs him. The townspeople now see her because they're at the crypt.
She runs into the crypt and then she crucifies herself.
Right, that's what I don't understand. Why would she do that? She has a perfectly good body now.
She could wreak havoc everywhere if she wanted to.
She could go to America. She could,
She could go back to Toronto.
She could study,
She could study a different major because she hates archaeology.
She could become a singer.
She could do anything. She has so much potential.
She has all of these opportunities ahead of her.
But instead, she crucifies herself.
She walks into the crowd of angry Sicilians, right? And she's got this weird ectoplasm bubbling out of her mouth.
Yellow ectoplasm goo.
It's Jello shots. It's Jello shots.
She ate some of the butcher's meat.
The gangrene meat. And she puts herself on the cross, and they burn her.
And then all of the other mummified nuns catch a blaze. And then they keep showing the same scene, I think.
Right, and they just kind of back up. Boop, 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 boop. They're backing up, like they're scared. And they're talking, blah, blah, blah. And then it shows them again, the same point, and blah, 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 and they back up.
I think they just kept re-editing the same scene over and over again. That's what it looked like to me.
It was ridiculous.
Let's
go get some barbecue. It was just...
I know, exactly.
And then, okay,
oh my God.
So the professor then walks down to the crypt, and he's bleeding, but he's not dead. And he says, Liza. And he looks, and
she's no longer on the cross anymore, and she's just lying on the floor.
Regular clothes, lying on the floor.
She looks like she's sleeping to me. So I'm thinking, is she sleeping?
Maybe she's taking a nap.
Is she still alive? Is she still possessed?
Maybe she's at the seance still. Maybe she dreamed it all.
And then she wakes up and like, thank God, it never happened.
It never happened. Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Oh. Anyway, that's how it ends.
That's it. That's the end. I'm glad we could bring you all through this.
I know.
You could experience this through us.
Now you don't ever have to watch it.
We've told you. And I'll make a little clip so you can all watch that little clip over and over and over and over and over again of the cats.
That's the only one worth watching. Especially the part where it just jumps straight up on her face. Like you see its little cute little belly and its little legs all dangling. It's like
so
its belly and it flies. And then all of a sudden it's like plop right on her eyeballs. It's like both paws on either eye. And it just covers her whole face. I love Demonia cats. Demonia cats, it's a new version of cats.
No, not cats. Ah.
Demonia cats.
Oh God, I hated cats. Sorry. That's like, oh my God, that just kills my soul. No, cats. Demon cats. I'll go there.
Bing. Only demon cats. Only Demonia cats.
Those are the cats I enjoy. That's what I'm gonna call my cat now.
Demonia.
Demonic. Well, her name's Ketonia, so my demonic Ketonia.
Is she gonna jump on your face and eat your eyeballs?
No, she's very sweet. And plus, I make sure that her cat box is clean and that she gets fed on time.
And she's fed.
Out of all the nun films, this was not on the top.
No, and there's so many good ones. But I have to say that cat scene is pretty good.
It is. And that the little wax head was pretty cute too. In the water.
Okay. Not as good as kitties.
Well, that's the next film. Cats.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to do our Mediterranean diet. Yep. We started out with something bland,
Italian,
tasteless, and low calorie.
It's definitely low cal. Definitely low cal. We need to spice it up for the next one. Something spicy.
For sure.
Spicy, spicy. Give me some spice, bitches.
Spicy meatballs.
I don't know about meatballs.
I don't want balls. I never want
balls for me. No. Well, that was it. Well, thank you for listening. We love you all. And remember, you can find us at Another B Movie Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can email us at anotherbmoviepodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what you want us to watch. Events you want us to go to. Let us know. We're listening.
Are you?
Yeah. You better be. Don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. You can do that now too. It's a new thing. I like it. Yay.
Las Pesadillas Son Gratis. Hasta luego.